Welcome to the Revere Veterans and Community Corner. Today we have two veterans of the community. One's name is Juan Jaramillo. Welcome to the community corner.
Thank you for
and the other one is a young lady by the name of Dimple Rana. Welcome to the community corner.
Thank you.
Juan, we're going to start with you first. I believe you are going to be running for the school committee.
I am Morris.
So tell us what made you start that.
So I just graduated from Revere High School last year, and I'm currently enrolled at UMass Boston studying education with a minor in public policy. And I've always been very involved in the community. Revere has given me so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think that I have some ideas that I can bring forward to improve the education in our city, haven't just come out of our schools.
That's good. Now tell us how you intend to do all that.
So some of the ideas that I have are work around community building between our schools and our city. By that I mean I want our schools to be able to reach out to our to our parents more, because it's proven that if the parents are more involved, we can our kids do significantly better. Also reaching out to our businesses to have maybe our students work in our businesses to get real life experience of what the world out there is like, and get some work experience out there to kind of enrich their learning process.
That's good, Juan. Glad to hear that. Now I want to go back to this young lady on my left here. I'm going to call you Dimple.
Yes.
Is that all right?
That's all right. That's my name.
Okay, Dimple. You are a neighborhood organizer for Revere on the Move at City Hall.
Correct.
But you're more interested in getting a youth center into the city of Revere. Would you elaborate on that?
Sure. I'm currently the adult coordinator for a group of youth called Revere Youth in Action, and we actually started meeting last October because the group of young people came and asked a group of adults why Revere doesn't have a youth center, and helping them and how to help them to bring one into the city. And so since last October, we've had a group of 4, and now we're a group of 35 young people and adults who have been planning and working around bringing a youth center to Revere. And Revere hasn't had a youth center in about 13 years. And I'm not just talking about a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club, but a youth center that opens up opportunities for youth and brings in more of their experience to bring in more of their achievement, leadership, enjoyment, and recognition, and for them to build friendships across the board with their peers.
Right, and you're not talking about little youth, you're talking about teenagers?
Yes, there's been a lack of resources and activities for youth who are between 13 and about 24 years old. So we need to create a place where youth can go and enjoy recreational activities, but also leadership activities. So they're not hanging out on the streets, they're not causing a ruckus, they're actually in a safe environment and hopefully learning to be involved in their community.
Right.
And come back and bring back their skills to the community as well.
And if they want to contact you, let them know how to get a hold of you.
Sure. You can contact me at revereyouthinAction@gmail.com or at 781-521-4544.
Okay, now I want to get back to you, Juan. First of all, why do you feel in your life has prepared you to run a campaign or even hold the office of what you're running for?
So Morris, I've helped out on many campaigns. Last year, I worked with the now Registrar of Probates, Patty Campitelli, in Revere, Winthrop, and Chelsea. In East Boston, we worked a hard campaign. We had a very close vote in Revere, and we won in Suffolk County. So now she's the registrar because of it. I've always liked to be involved in the community, and talking to people during the campaign trail last year just made me see, well, maybe I can do something too. Maybe it's not as inaccessible as people might think it is. I can put my part in the community, and I am studying education, so I do want to become an educator at one point. And
I think you mentioned about you also want to be a lawyer.
Yeah, so right now I'm majoring in education with a minor in public policy, and my aspirations are to eventually apply to law school. I don't know where the world might take me, but hopefully I will get to do that. Yeah.
Right. By the way, folks, I have to tell you, you got the three of us here are first-generation Americans. My parents came from Germany and Russia. Your parents, I believe, came from Colombia.
That's right.
And your parents came from India?
Correct.
That's good. So now I'm going to get back to you, Dimple.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, you were also on the Planning Council member of the Office of the New Revere Resident. Tell us a little about that.
Sure. Thanks to Mayor Rizzo and his administration, last year we launched the Office of New Revere Residents, which we're going to actually have a physical space inside City Hall where new residents of Revere can come into the City Hall and access different resources, find out about where different things are, even get some help around questions if they're even new to the country, not just new to the city. So making it a little bit easier for people to get acclimated into the city of Revere and hopefully get them the resources that they need for them to stay in Revere, because we want people to continue to live here.
That's good. And tell us where you grew up at, where you went to school at, what you studied at. People love to hear that. At least I do.
Great. Well, I was born in Cambridge and lived in Revere for most of my life, for the past 25 years, and the only time I left was when I went to college. I went to college in New York at Hofstra University.
One?
Hofstra.
Very good school.
It
and
is
a good basketball school, too.
Yes. The team actually went to the championships the year
Right.
I was there. And I studied public health, and I came back to Revere after finishing college, and I've did a lot of work with young people here in the city, and then I left for a couple of years and actually moved to Cambodia for 2 years. And I did some work there, and I came back. I always come back to Revere. I just started working in November at City Hall as a neighborhood organizer for Revere on the Move.
You know, I got to say something. When I look at you, Juan, and I look at you, Dimple, and I'm not going to tell them their ages, but when I know your ages, and when I add up the two of you together, they're almost half of what as old as I am. But it's twice as smart, though. Okay, well, let me get back to you. Excuse me. What are some of the most immediate needs in our schools or that our kids have?
So, actually, building a lot on what Dimple has been talking about, our kids do need a lot of things to do outside of our schools. Not just after-school programs, we need out-of-school programs that you know they might do. And we talked about Dimple have had conversations, Dimple and I have had conversations about this, about maybe having them on the weekends also to kind of enrich the experience of the student in Revere. Like Dimple said, we haven't had any youth center for teenagers.
13 years you mentioned.
In 13 years. So, I mean, that presents a problem because what are our kids doing after school? Our community is mainly a working community, so when they go home, they unfortunately don't have their parents there because they're at work. So, so who's helping them with their homework, or who's helping them to get some social skills that you otherwise wouldn't learn at school? So we're talking about building and enriching a student as a whole, socially, academically, and it'll play out. It'll play out great when our scores come in. Our kids, if they have a healthy lifestyle, a healthy social life, when we will see academic improvement.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you, speak a little about your family, your parents, you know, how, because they came, like you said, from Colombia.
Right, from Colombia.
How it was growing up in America with a family from Colombia.
Right.
I know how it was for me.
So I actually didn't speak any English when we first moved.
Neither did I. Juan, don't feel bad. I didn't know English till I got into kindergarten.
Really?
That was then I first learned English.
Yeah, actually I had to stay back because I didn't speak English. unfortunately, but it was great. It was a great experience. I went to the Paul Revere School. The teachers were great. We had bilingual program up until 3rd grade. Then I transitioned into full English classes. At that point, though, we got moved, because I lived on Beach Street, we got moved to the McKinley School. So I went to the McKinley School. I always did really good on my grades. My English has been improving steadily ever since, thank God. And then I moved to the Garfield, where I was placed in an ELL class again, but I was actually doing more helping than learning, which in turn helped me to learn a lot and kind of inspired me to want to be a teacher. So, and I graduated from Revere High School recently. I've always been very, very involved. I acted as a school committee person last year, actually, and it was a great experience. I got to be, I got to participate in a lot of decision making, although I didn't have an active vote. I did get to discuss with the people
That's good.
in the school
Very good.
committee some of the ideas that were going to be played out.
Right. Now, Dimple, I'm going to ask you, your parents come from a country that has a population, I believe now, over 1 billion?
Yes.
Over 1 billion?
It's over 1 billion. It's
quite-
actually the second biggest populated country
Outside
in
of
the
China.
world, outside of China.
Right.
Yes.
Go ahead. Tell us about your parents. How you like them growing up?
Sure. My parents moved to America shortly. I was born right after my parents moved shortly to America, and my parents, they've shared a lot of stories about them growing up in India. My parents actually had an arranged marriage. My parents.
What do you mean by arranged? Do you mean they didn't? It wasn't like they met?
Nope, they didn't meet. My grandfathers both met a week before my parents' wedding happened, and they were both meeting for a business meeting, and they both really enjoyed each other's company. And my grandfather on my mom's side offered my mom to my grandfather on my dad's side for marriage to his son. And so by the end of the week, my mom was meeting my dad, and they had a wedding, and they were married. So arranged marriage is actually very common in India. I'm not married. I don't plan on getting an arranged marriage, but I know that it's a very deep tradition in our culture. So my parents were married, and they moved here to America, and we've had, some good and hard times growing up as an immigrant family here. My sister and I, in the 80s, we went to the Wayland School, and then we went to the Garfield School. My experience growing up here in Revere has actually influenced all the community work that I've done. I've been a community organizer for about 17 years. I'm actually much older than I look.
Did you say 17 years? I thought I heard. Okay, I just
Yes.
want to be sure I didn't hear wrong.
Yes.
So you started when you were 8?
That'd be nice. No, actually, I started when I was about 15. While I was at Revere High, I became very involved with the community.
That I can see.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There was a lot of many issues that were going on in the community back in the 90s, and we needed a space to increase our leadership and to have a voice for students and for young people. And many of the clubs that exist at Revere High actually were created and co-founded by myself and one of my best friends, who also is from Revere. We grew up together, and we did a lot of leadership here in the city, and I'm proud to be back here and to be able to bring back a lot of the skills that I've learned in all of my travels around the world and in the U.S. and working here.
Oh, you've
Revere.
been,
Yep.
beside India and America, you've been other places?
Yes, I lived in Cambodia for 2 years.
How'd you like it? Tell us a little about their customs. We'd love to hear that.
Oh, I loved living in Cambodia. I was only supposed to be there for 2 months for an internship, part of a youth human rights delegation, and I loved the country so much that I actually ended up staying for 2 years.
Wow.
The country is very resilient. They've went through a lot. They had a very devastating Holocaust with the Khmer Rouge, and the country is still developing, and it's developing quickly. But the people who live there and are from there are very resilient, and they're very happy people. And I very much enjoyed living there.
That's
It's a great
good. Now
culture.
I'm going to ask you a question. You said you wasn't going to get married, but if you were going to get married, what kind of man would you be looking for? Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful.
$1 million question.
Well,
I know it would have to be an educated man.
yes, an educated, a very smart man, someone who's also very funny and can keep me laughing.
I'm married. You can't have me.
Darn it, I missed the boat.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, someone that, is trustworthy and
I'll tell you why. My daughter said the same thing you said. She was never going to get married. She got married. Now she has 3 kids.
well, I'm not saying I'm never
my
going to get
granddaughter,
married.
excuse me.
I'm just never going to have an arranged marriage.
Oh, no, we don't do that in this. Well, some of the elderly do, but usually we don't in this country.
No.
Here you meet someone, you fall in love, you go for a couple of years,
Right.
or maybe a couple of months like they do today. You get married, and then 2 months later you get divorced and you find another one. Now, like myself, I've been
No.
married 63 years, but I'm from the old school. I want to get back to this gentleman. Did you hear what I called you?
Yeah.
What does Revere as a community mean to you? And when you finish with that, who is Juan Jaramillo?
So, I mean, Revere has always been like home now. I mean, I've been here for the past 13 years. I don't think I'd ever picture myself living anywhere else. A lot of people that come to Revere come in and move out, and that's it. I have a debt with the community here. The students and the city, the teachers in the city and other city staff have always been there for support and encouragement. Whatever I needed, they were there. And it'd be ungrateful of me to just kind of leave the city. It's home.
I hope you don't
Revere
leave
is home.
because I got to tell you, you are a treasure to the community. Juan, you're only 20 years old. You're running for school committee. You want to improve your education. You want to go to law school. We love people like that in the city of Revere, and I wish all the other youths would take an example from this one. Go ahead, Juan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Morris. So Revere is home, and it's a place that I hold dear in my heart. And wherever I go, whether I'm out of state, whether I'm outside and within the state, outside of Revere, I tell people I'm from Revere. And actually, I was one day at the State House and as a student representative, and I was with Representative Reinstein, and she mentioned that she made people think that Revere was the center of the world, and that's exactly how I feel. So I think Revere is the center of the world.
It is.
It
And I
is.
got to tell you something.
True.
I had Mr. Paul Dakin up here. He's your superintendent of your school.
Yep.
Also voted the #1 superintendent in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. When I spoke to him, he told me they have 41 languages at the Revere High School. They're also considering Chinese as their next language because of the population, which China has over 1.5 billion people in there. I think, which is almost 1/4 of the world's population.
That's-
which is about 6-7 billion.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that's a great idea, bringing languages like Chinese or Mandarin and Arabic, which are global languages now for business. And our students
Exactly.
need to be exposed to that. We do have Spanish and Italian and French, and French is a great diplomatic language. And Italian, just because of our roots here in Revere, it's great to have. But to enrich the learning of our students, it's
But you
important
know
that we
some-
have Mandarin and Arabic.
Right, but you know something, Juan? When I listen to the television, the radio, and I listen to countries that are overseas, like the BBC, they broadcast from India, Pakistan, Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon. When they speak to the people, the British do, they're speaking back to them in English, so English is pretty well popular.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I grew up, it was French or Italian is the I think English today is the predominant language.
English is the most spoken language. It's the business language of the world.
Right.
And it's starting to become a very diplomatic language, although the United Nations predominantly uses for their decrees and their paperwork French, but English is most commonly used. So I mean, we're already in a head start there. We're
good.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you. Who is Dimple? Tell us about who Dimple really is.
Who is Dimple?
That's you know.
Yes, that is me. Well, I get this question a lot. Who is Dimple? And is Dimple your real name? And Dimple is my real name.
How did you ever get that real name, if I may ask you? Because I've never heard ladies called Dimple, but it's a pretty name. Don't get me wrong, but how did you get it?
Well, in the 70s, there was a famous Indian movie actress. The Indian entertainment industry is actually #1 today. It's called Bollywood. It surpassed Hollywood. But in the 70s in Bollywood, there's a famous movie actress. Her name is Dimple Kapadia. And my grandfather was a big fan of hers, and so he decided to name me after her. But it's actually a very popular Indian name. There's many, many Dimples in India. It's a very common name.
Talking about actresses in India, I heard on the news coming in this morning that a 25-year-old by the name, I don't know the first name, but the last name was Khan, an Indian actress, passed away at the age of 25.
Oh, I haven't read that news yet.
I don't know if you ever heard of it. Her name was Khan.
There's a lot of actors and actresses with that last name.
Oh, there is?
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to the news, you'll see, I don't know what happened, but she passed away.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now I'm going to ask you, your future outlook.
My future outlook.
I don't mean about marriage. I'm talking about you.
Well, right now, I just started my position as neighborhood organizer with Revere on the Move, and I'm looking forward to growing in this position and working closely with the city of Revere and the residents of the community, and working on projects around healthy living and healthy eating, which is very important. Revere
tell them how to get a hold of you too.
Yes.
Again.
Revere has a very high obesity rate, so that's important for Revere on the Move to exist. But you can get in touch with me at revereyouthinAction@gmail.com to get involved with any of the youth work that I actually do outside of my job. I volunteer and work with young people because I really believe that young people are our future, and they need all of the support and resources in order to be successful as they can be. So I really believe that. In my future endeavors, I'm planning to stay in Revere for a good number of years.
We'd love to have you.
And I'm not sure in what other capacities that may look like, but I'm going to continue to stay here in Revere and continue to be a community organizer, community veteran.
That's right. Thank you, first of all. Before
you.
we wrap it up, take a couple of minutes, my friend Juan, and say what you'd love to say, and I hope you're the best in the future, but please do take a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Morris. Juan is just Juan. I was a wild, loud kid when I was in school.
Join the club. Join the club.
Yeah, I was very fun. People might. I'm just a kid. I am at heart, at least. I have a lot of views. I have a lot of ideas for our city. I see great potential and a great future for our city, and I'm very hopeful for the things that are happening here. I'm having a lot of I'm trying to mobilize a lot of the youth to help me out, and our city to help me out with this campaign, because this is really for them more than for anybody, and it's for the city as a whole, because I am in such great debt with the city.
So that's good.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to tell the people of the city of Revere that usually they think when they see the Revere Veterans community, that's a veterans show. But you are really community veterans. I mean, you have nothing to do with the military, but you have plenty to do to help the military. I know you do that. I know you do that too. So I want to say, before we turn it around, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And let me say God bless you, Juan. And good luck to whatever you do, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show, and
Thank you
God
for
bless
having
you.
me.
People can reach out to me. I have a website. It's
Tell them that.
www.jpjaramillo.com. revere.com, or they can give me a call. It's my personal cell phone. I'm happy to answer any call at any time of the day, even at night, at 617-838-7098. Again, 617-838-7098. Check out my website and stay up, Revere.
Right, thank you. And you do the same thing. Repeat your number again so to make sure everyone knows it.
Sure. Again, this is a great example of our future youth leaders.
Right.
And you can contact me at revereyouthinAction@gmail.com, or also again on my personal cell phone as well, 781-521-4544, and you can call me at any time.
Thank you, and may God bless both of you. God
you.
bless the
Amen.
city of Revere.
Yeah.
God bless our troops, but especially God bless this great country, the United States of America. And I want to say it was
Amen.
an honor for the city of Revere and myself to have two young people come on our show. Thank you.
The honor was all ours.
Yes.
Thank
The
you.
honor. And,
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
No, I salute you for your service.
Thank you.